Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Friday, June 12th, 2026. TGIF. I am Hammer, founder of Hammer Solutions, home of great products such as Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Three great products to help loan officers get business from Google search, AI search, social media, and to understand and communicate what's going on in the markets and work with rates. So go check those out. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Broadcast to you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you would like a text reminder that I'm going live so you don't miss a moment of the show, sign up at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code over here. Again, I just send out a text as I'm going live with the links so that you don't miss a moment of the show and you can jump on and see what's going on. Remember also, if you do miss the show or want to use it, you can also get our daily email lock advice, www.ratelockadvice.com. Do me a favor, share that link with other LOs. Our signups have actually started to dwindle. I got to do something to push that up higher. Also, you can sign up for our Rate Lock advice, www.ratetextalerts.com. Now, how many other services send out a text and tell you don't lock, reprices better are coming? That's what we did yesterday at 1:27 p.m. Eastern time as news broke that things were getting much better. And we'll be talking about that more today. But make sure that you protect your pipeline, not only for reprices worse, but reprices better. And we keep you notified of all that good stuff. So you can sign up at ratetextalerts.com. Remember, if you're here live, say good morning. If you're watching the replay, do me a favor. Just give me hashtag replay in the comments. It makes a difference. It shows later for the algorithm that people are watching. It also shows me who's actually watching later rather than getting a bunch of analytics that don't always make sense to me. I don't think nearly as many people watch. But also don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, comment, tag an LO friend, all that good stuff. Welcome to the live, folks. Amy Blauser, TGIF, Angela Walters, Randy Tico, giddy up, sir. Holly Johnson, live from the baseball field. Thanks for tuning in while you're out there. Hope you have a fantastic day. I don't know where you are in the country, man. It's going to be 85 degrees here in the mountains, in the Great Smoky Mountains. That's hot here. That is real hot here. We don't usually see anything with an 8 handle. So 85 today as a high is going to be real hot. I'm sure it's hot all over the place. Pat Tenney, good morning. Good morning, sir. Randy Tico said, Austin did a great job yesterday on VMA, and he is talented. Thank you. I appreciate that. I will pass that along. I also saw your question about the new websites and the new website templates, and so we're working on that. We'll be talking about that some more behind the scenes. So, all right. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. Light crowd this morning, surprised. Maybe everyone's taking off for the weekend, like the Northwest Ohio. Oh, I'm sure it's going to be warm out there. Anyway, all right, let's hop in and get over the good stuff. Let's see. Here you go. Share the screen. Okay, so first things first, let's start off talking about what happened yesterday. Yesterday, mortgage-backed securities started the day up. When pricing came out, generally, we were up, on average. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, when pricing came out yesterday, I got to pull up Presentify. There it is. All right. We were up on the day, which was nice, right? Pricing came out right here, right around 10 a.m. We were up on the day as things were happening. If we compare that to, say, the 5-day, here we were the day before. And so as pricing came out, generally, actually, I think it's right about here. Yeah, there it is. So we were up on the day, at least close to where we were the day before, right? So it looked like pricing was going to be about the same, maybe a smidge worse, but we'd recovered from the day before, from Wednesday, from this negative afternoon that we had where things were getting down. Now, here's the deal. When we saw this, when we started the day yesterday, there was speculation. President Trump had said that the U.S. was going to start our strikes back up. We were going to attack Iran once again if they didn't, get their stuff together when it came to the negotiations. So that was what we went into yesterday. And markets did not have a strong reaction to it. I was actually surprised. You think Facebook is? Oh, that's right. I see everybody. You're right. There must be someone on Facebook because everybody that's on today is on YouTube. Thanks for showing me that, y'all. Everything it's on today. I wonder what it shows me that it's on Facebook. Huh. I wonder. Oh, well. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Now it's showing me that there's a problem. Account access expired. Reconnect. Really? You couldn't have shown me that? Oh, there's a connection error. All right. Well, we'll have to mess with that later. But anyway, we're going to power through. So, anyway, this morning, as we take a look, what happened yesterday, about 1:30 in the afternoon, Trump came out and said we were not going to attack Iran and that they had gotten serious about negotiations and that a deal was imminent, was very, very close, could be as close as this weekend. Bonds had a huge rally. This is when we sent out our text alert and said, hey, we've seen a reversal in outlook, float, right? Because before this, we were in a lock status, because if we did attack Iran, this would have been a substantial attack, not what we had seen as skirmishes before. And it would have been substantial enough that we would have, hopefully have said for real that we broke the ceasefire, because we've all laughed that how do you have a ceasefire where we keep having these, little attacks? But it was kind of like, those were okay. This would have been all right, all bets are off. We're going in there. Trump had talked about even taking over Karg Island, which is the main export hub of Iran for their oil and their gas. So this was a really big deal. And the fact that Trump came out in around 1:30 and he said, okay, we're not going to attack them. They've come to the table. They're serious. We have, basically a doctrine that says, what we're going to do. Nothing's signed yet, but we have basically the framework for an agreement. And bonds, we saw an initial huge jump, and then they just kept, we'll circle this in yellow, actually. So we saw a huge jump, and that's when we sent out our text alert, our SMS text alert here. And we said, hey, don't lock, hold off. And then we saw continued improvement from there. Oil prices fell. Brent crude for the first time back below $90 a barrel, and I don't know how long. We saw a little bit of pullback in the afternoon, just a little bit here, but that's because with things doing so well, generally you're going to see that when you have that kind of adjustment. Now this morning, mortgage-backed securities started the day. They continued, kind of rebalancing from yesterday. We basically, this big run up here, this was our high point. And then now we're kind of back to where we were with the initial. You see it here. We're kind of back to where we were with the initial, the initial reaction. But the good news is reprice risk on the day is low. It's not likely we're going to have to worry about losing ground. We are now post Memorial Day. So generally traders are going to take off the afternoon on Friday. They're going to get a jump on, early weekend and, get the travel time in to get to the Hamptons. That's not even a joke, and all that stuff. So we're watching that 10-year. It's just touching on that 4.5 level. We'd love to see it drop and stay below that 4.5. We'll see if that continues to happen. Even if it does creep up, it was up to, that 4.55, 4.52. Yesterday dropped to 4.46. We'd love to see it stay below 4.5. So we'll see if that continues. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time panicking on that today, but so this is what's driving everything, is all of that. Now, next week, so here's where rates could go. So if a deal gets signed as soon as Sunday, and that's what some of them are saying, right? So hold on, I got so many different articles open this morning. Okay. All right. So let's start off here. Proposed Iran. Let me just make this fit a little better. Hold on a minute. There you go. Proposed Iran-U.S. deal would reopen Hormuz Strait and lift oil sanctions. U.S. and Iran could reportedly sign a peace deal as soon as Sunday. This is the key here, as soon as Sunday, right? So if we do actually have something signed, the G7 summit starts on Monday. So, and this was first announced on Bloomberg, and I think I actually have it on their one of their articles over here. Yeah, so Iran edges towards signing an interim deal ahead of that G7 meeting next week. U.S. and Iran may sign an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz on the sidelines of the Group 7 World Leader Summit next week. The interim peace deal would see the U.S. and Iran extend their ceasefire and go further into negotiations over the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. Again, markets don't care about this. We care about that, but markets don't care about that. The key is this: if the U.S. lifts its blockade of Iranian ports, and if Iran opens up the Strait of Hormuz, which is, they've said they would do that immediately. I've seen anything from immediately through within 30 days. So, if they if they sign an agreement to open the Strait of Hormuz, then that is going to be big. We'll see rates continue to improve next week. We'll see bonds continue to rally. Oil prices will continue to fall. Right now, taking a look at oil prices, let's see if we get anything different here. I think they're just repeating what they saw on the other article. Peace deal could be signed in Switzerland as soon as Sunday. The time and place of the meeting are media speculations, according to the Iran regime there. So President Donald Trump on Thursday claimed the U.S. just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, subject to the finalization of documents. Now, we've seen this before. We've heard this before, but he keeps kind of moving it closer and closer. This is the first time that he said something like the finalization of documents. He said the Oval Office... He said in the Oval Office, the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened as soon as the deal is signed. And it may take a little time to get it up to full traffic, but that's a big, big deal. That'll help oil prices to drop back down. Bond, if we look at oil, Brent crude is at 88.54. That's the first time we've seen it. Let's adjust this a little to a month here. All right, look at that. That's the lowest we've seen it in over a month. That's basically... We had one time here, this was on April 17th, where it was down to a low of $86. I think that was another time that we thought a deal was going to get done, and then it shot back up when it didn't. But I don't think we have to worry about that. But just, keep an eye, because we could see that. If you take a look at where mortgage-backed securities were on April, was that 17th that we just said that was? Let me see. What was that? April 17th. Yeah. So that was the 17th. So if we look at bonds on April 17th, we had our high point here, and then same thing. So we had a high point, and then they lost ground. As you saw oil prices go up, bonds went down, and that means pricing got worse, all that stuff through that same time period. So there's always a possibility that could happen. I think it's about a 20%, 1 in 5 right now. It's much more likely that we do get to a deal and that things get done. So hopefully that's where we're at. Again, bonds down a little bit this morning, but not enough to worry about. So, all right, my friends. Ron Siegel jumping on YouTube. Yeah, apparently there's no Facebook, so I appreciate it. It's National Peanut Butter Cookie Day, according to YouTube, Ron. Let's see. This is funny to see all these as just YouTube. National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. Who loves some peanut butter cookies? I do like peanut butter cookies. You're on the side of no deal, huh? You think, Ron? You think that it'll fall apart? I think that he's got to get something done soon. So, what actually gets done and how much of an actual... It's kind of funny, because it's like, well, we're going to continue the ceasefire. We're going to continue the ceasefire. We're going to continue talking about these other things. They kick a lot of it down the road, but the main thing is if they get the Strait of Hormuz open, if they get the blockade out and they start moving oil, prices come down. Risk of inflation, concerns of inflation start to ease right before next week's Fed meeting. So next week we've got, by the way, today 10 a.m. we got consumer sentiment data, and that could, push bonds 5 or 6 basis points, but you're not going to see much move this morning. But next week, we've got the Fed meeting, and it's, Kevin Warsh's first Fed meeting. Of course, we'll talk more about that on Monday. But if a deal gets signed, that's going to really help the idea of easing inflation ahead of that Fed meeting. And that could be good for rates and bonds, because instead of talking about a Fed rate hike, Kevin Warsh is expected to do the press conference. He said he's going to be less communicative, less transparent. He may go back to an every other meeting press conference. He may do less than that. Who knows? But he is going to do a press conference, from what I've read, after next week's meeting, which will be good. And that could, he could put out there that he's trying to convince everybody that a cut is necessary. And that could, markets could react to that. They love to react to that kind of stuff. So next week could be a good week for rates and pricing. We definitely want to see where things go. There is some risk to floating, but not a tremendous amount. That's the good news. So hopefully that's where we get is where it is. So yeah. Hammer breaks the news of Facebook being down. Claude didn't know that. I don't know that Facebook is down altogether. I just know that my connection to it shows that it can't connect all of a sudden. So, and it was fine this morning. It didn't warn me. But anyway, as far as all of that stuff goes, next week we're going to have the Fed meeting. We've got what other data was it for next week? I think retail sales data was the other big thing. Hold on, let me see. But there wasn't. We got Juneteenth, so the markets will be closed on next Friday. Let's see, economic calendar. Let me make this a little smaller so I can see it. Here it is. Yeah, so we got retail sales on Wednesday. Otherwise, there's really not a lot of data next week. It's going to be about the Fed meeting. So, but if something does happen, we get continued, positive news coming out of Iran. The Strait of Hormuz really does get opened. We will see a very strong reaction. This is the initial reaction. We'll see a continued strong reaction once ships start bringing oil through. Oil prices continue to fall. That will be very positive. It'll help rates drop back down. We'll see the low sixes. We're not going to get the fives for a while, but we could see low sixes, mid to low sixes. Right now, we're falling back to mid to high. So we need to get to low to mid, if you will, and we'll go from there. So, all right, my friends. Oh, your connection is down too on Facebook. Okay, yeah, then. But yeah, sorry, everybody. That's apparently Facebook is broken. So I'm sure it'll get fixed, especially after they started charging. I was looking at the prices for the Facebook deals. They have one. It's $100 or that's $500 a month. You get garbage. You get nothing. It's like ridiculous. It's like, I don't know. It's amazing to me. Shows you what great value you get for all of my products. Friggin' nuts. So Nicky Timmeross will keep his status as the Fed whisperer. He will for as long as Powell is still a governor. I bet you Powell will continue to feed him info for real. Powell's a pretty integrity-based guy and a stand-up guy, but I think that the relationship is there, that he'll feed him some stuff and we'll kind of get some insight into some things. So the question is, how long will Powell stay a governor? And what does that look like? So, all right. Well, anyway, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I will see you on Monday. Make it a great one, my friends. Bye-bye.